Welcome, everybody, to the Loud and Drunk podcast. This is Dan. We've got a spooktacular episode for you. God damn it, I hate these fucking Halloween puns. Moses, we're talking about Halloween. What are you looking forward to on this holiday?
Well, as a diabetic, I love the indulgence of candy and the sugar rush, high fall, and the eventual hospital trip that it entails every 31st to the November 1st.
Justin, sir.
Hey, for me, at this point, I just like to see people have fun, even though I'm a grumpy fuck. Good on you, folks. Get dressed up, get weird, have a good time.
And I am Vinny Price. It's wonderful to be here, and I love Halloween. It's an exciting episode for me. Love the show.
Thank you. But before we get started, let's welcome our newest sponsor, The Underground. Located in historic Smithville Village, on the way to Atlantic City, is Jersey's coolest proprietor of rock and roll and punk rock apparel, horror merch, posters, accessories, and more. You can find them online at theoriginalunderground.com. The Underground, it's a bad store for bad people. I'd also like to take this time to encourage you to subscribe to this podcast. We are on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Rumble, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. If you are on YouTube and Rumble, smash that like button, leave us a comment, share this video with your friends, and get in on the conversation by joining us on social media at Loud and Drunk on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So guys, Halloween is upon us. Figured we'd start this show off on a negative note. What grinds your gears about this time of year? Moses.
Right now, it's the goddamn weather, because it's like 80 degrees. What the fuck is going on? Like, Putin, get your shit together.
Yeah, why would Putin do this to us?
He's having troubles with the weather dominator.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, what was it, something I hate about this? Or something I like?
Did you not hate anything about Halloween?
I mean, this is an odd one because I don't enjoy dressing up for Halloween because I love dressing up for inopportune times, but now it's like, oh, you have to dress up. It's like, no.
I'm glad you said it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to dress
Guy
up.
dresses up all the time.
The one time a year that you can't be the showcase.
Yeah, and it's just like, this is boring.
That absolutely makes sense for you.
Basic. I am the personification of the 100% emoji, and this holiday kind of takes the wind
I
out of those
hate you
sails.
for saying that.
Yeah, it's obnoxious. It's very obnoxious.
Moses, I agree with you. I don't like whenever, you know, anyone in the friends group has a Halloween party, I just show up in regular clothes. And they're like, oh, what are you supposed to be? And I'm like, oh, I'm like wearing a figurative mask about being happy on the outside.
I do love your conviction.
You do that for any other occasion. Like somebody's getting married, you're like, navy sweatshirt. That's good.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, to be fair, I did bring a suit for that wedding. I just got there at 9:00 at night.
Yes, fair. Right. Yeah, there's no reason to
There's no
change
reason.
now,
Everyone else is trashed. Why? Oh, yeah, I'm just going to show up. Although they almost did throw me out of that wedding.
Yeah. I think I was trying to vouch for you, but I was drunk as fuck.
Everyone was
Nobody was listening.
It's like, don't you know?
Yeah.
Somebody's getting married here. Like, okay, that's why I
I'm
came.
not saying to him.
No,
don't you know how he operates?
Well,
Listen, I was wearing my finest Navy football
Yes, you
long
were.
sleeve shirt, so of course that should be accepted to any wedding. I'm here representing the Navy blue and gold, motherfucker.
it did look pressed, and it was a sweatshirt, and I was just taken aback at that.
It's like, how does one do that?
Yeah, where are the creases on a sweatshirt?
That's pretty much the only thing that you'll learn in the armed services.
All right, let's get back on track with this stupid Halloween bullshit. Justin.
Yeah, so for Halloween, what kind of annoys me now, like, I kind of enjoyed it as a kid. It was fine. It was something to do. But I'll take it from how I observe it now. Like, Halloween is very much trending to, like, this trunk or treat shit now. Which, why even, like, I get it, but it seems to take all the perceived fun out of it, I guess. So you're going from parking space to parking space to just get candy out of someone's trunk in the parking lot of a baseball stadium or a Walmart or whatever the hell it is.
I could see that being fun if it was at like a tailgate for like a NFL or college football game, something like that.
Yes,
It's just like everyone,
sure.
like the adults are trashed, but the kids are still
I
getting
have
candy.
to imagine that is how it is. Like, I've never been to a trunk or treat, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
It seems it kind of like takes the fun and the workmanship out of trick or treating, like just knocking on somebody's door and saying, like, give me something. I think that builds character for a child because, that comes in handy in life when you're, down on your luck and you need your next fix of heroin.
When I was a child, what I just remember, so like you always have those people that would put out the sign like, we don't celebrate Halloween. Sorry, go move on.
Goddamn pagans.
Well, yeah, and like my fun was like, well, I'm gonna knock on that door anyway, and I'm gonna knock, and I'm gonna knock, and I'm gonna keep knocking because I want to see it in your eyes as you deny me.
Tell me no.
I need to see it. A sign is not good enough for me.
I feel the same way about that no soliciting sign that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not soliciting anything, but once I see it, I'm in the business of selling whatever the hell I don't have.
I remember growing up, like we had a couple. I think they were Jehovah's Witnesses that lived in the neighborhood, so they would always put out because they didn't want to be bothered, and I get that. As an adult, I get that, but as a child, I was spiteful and mean, and I wanted to know why. What makes you so special as to not purvey me the candy I so desire?
Well, Justin, let me tell you about the Watchtower.
How dare you, sir?
It's where Superman and Batman live.
Oh. Great, thanks.
Yeah, this is a Justice League thing.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Very nice.
I mean, even in addition to that, now that I'm an adult that doesn't have children, I tend to hate children. So I've become grumpy, and I will answer the door, and I will give out candy. In fact, we have made ourselves one of those houses that gives out the full-size candy bars.
Oh, God damn, I'm coming to your house.
Yeah, you could die in my front stoop.
It wouldn't be the first time.
You just got to show up with like an oversized juice box and some sunglasses.
I have
Sizes too big.
I have a hat with curls in the backseat of my car.
All right, it's weird, but
I got it from your brother.
no, that sounds right actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't go like crazy. I get like 30 full-size candy bars in a box. First come, first serve. You better be active and be on top of that stuff.
Note to self, get there early.
Also, my job, I have to drive around a lot for my job, and driving around on Halloween day when, the kids are generally fine. It's the parents that stand in the middle of the street.
Yeah, they're like obnoxious.
Well, they're
about
drunk.
it. It's mostly true.
At least
Yeah.
they should be.
Yeah.
They should be.
Yeah.
They should be. But the ones that are like teetotalers, just there standing in the middle of the street, not willing to let a car go by.
Those are the assholes that give out like fucking raisins and apples for fucking Halloween.
Pennies.
And it's
And,
also...
well, pennies I can
individual
accept.
pennies.
Pennies are fine. At least I could use that in some way. What am I going to do with raisins?
What's it good for?
That was a staple of our young childhood. Like the pennies and the Necco wafers were obviously the worst case
I don't
scenario.
mind Necco wafers.
You are a monster.
Yeah, you're not a good person.
Like maybe like when I was super young and can't remember when trick-or-treating with my parents, but like as soon as I have like memories of trick-or-treating, we just went out as kids, as a group. And maybe that's like a generational thing now. Like I think parents are like really on top of their kids, especially these days. That wasn't the case when I was a kid, I'll tell you that much.
You just had to leave.
Yeah.
And then you searched for candy places.
I felt like I would get off the bus, and my mom was like, here's a pillowcase. I don't want to see it till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, exactly. Good luck.
That only happened once a year for you? All right.
Well,
my
with
mother would
the
just give me a pillow
pillowcase.
and be like, I don't want to see you. And, for a month
she
or two,
packed
I'd
you a little bindle. She gave you a broomstick to tie it onto.
No, I never got a
Burn the
broomstick.
bindle stuff.
I could have worked with a broomstick. I'd be like, I could sweep your.
You gotta
driveway.
earn your own.
Oh, you are
noses.
poor.
Pull yourself up from your fucking bootstraps.
I didn't have boots.
Jesus Christ.
The government took them. I had blocks of cheese that I wore.
Plenty of government cheese, no boots to speak
I
of.
had blocks of
That shit
cheese
does not melt,
as
I'll tell
new
you that.
shoes and shirts. I mean, they got passed down from the shoes. I'm an only child, so
Your shoes pass down shirts to you?
yeah, we would melt the cheese shoes into cheese shirts.
Confused.
It's called upcycling.
Just let this die.
Yeah.
So I'll take a breath, and then Dan, please.
I'm going to jump in here real
thank
quick
you.
with because we're on the note of trick-or-treaters. Last year, the morning after Mr. Mechanic's Halloween party,
Sounds like a plan B.
It is. I was hungover, very much so. And so I was like, listen, you got to do the things you got to do to get over a hangover, trying to eat a steak, like drink water, take a shower, all that stuff, not shaking it. So I figure it's like, you got one option left, buddy. Start cracking open beers and start drinking until you're regular again.
Yes, sir.
And so what ends up happening is, like, I'm watching the Dolphins-Jets game, and I'm
can't help.
I'm on beer number 5, and I'm still like, oh, I drank past regular and straight back to drunk.
Yeah.
And
That's
then,
the key.
And then I started noticing outside that people are walking around, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on over there?
Who the fuck are these people?
I just want to watch this goddamn Dolphins-Jets game. Will all of you people leave me alone? And then I noticed that it was trick-or-treaters, and then I realized, oh, son of a bitch.
Were you unprepared?
It's technically Halloween on this day.
But in Tom's River, it's always the day before.
That's what it was.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Dan was
excuse
off
me.
by 2 days. That's what he's getting at.
Yeah, because it's still not Halloween.
Excuse me, Tom Rivers.
Tom Rivers.
Yes.
Tom Rivers.
I'm enjoying this Agua Vida. I like it.
No, good.
I've been drinking this tequila from a friend. She makes it, or somebody makes it.
Thank you for that clarification.
But
Anyway,
as
it took one little girl to come up to my doorstep and like, twinkle tweet, and I'm like, oh my god, honey, I'm so sorry.
you are such a softie.
Did you give her like a can of SpaghettiOs?
No, I ran out of the house to go get freaking Reese's peanut
Literally
butter cups.
slipped out the back door, set the house on fire as he ran.
Just hand out raviolis, man.
I am not giving anyone my
he's not
ravioli.
gonna
It
give her
sounded
raviolis.
adorable.
You know goddamn well he will never give up a ravioli.
gonna
I was
Ravioli.
contemplating handing out these
the
Jocko
Jocko
Fuel.
Fuel.
Nobody wants your weird
Nah,
conservative.
I don't even
energy
know what
drink.
that is.
But and then what I would tell the children is, get after it, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Remember
Make
to
sure
vote
you're
Republican.
signed up by for jiu-jitsu by tomorrow morning.
Actually, I just had this thought, and as well as buying candy for the children trick-or-treaters, you should buy airplane shots for the adult
Oh, no,
trick-or-treaters.
I am all for that. But what I have found is that the people that bring, for the most part, and it's not all-encompassing, but like 75% of them are just dull fucks and will not.
well,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
that'll.
true.
It's
That's
the
true.
one time they can let loose.
I've
No, but
tried.
they
I
don't.
have tried, my friend.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're just so, like, I don't know, bashful, because they're all just trying to be white suburban moms.
They're trying to pretend like they don't want to get wasted on
right.
Halloween because there's kids out, but they do.
Yeah.
And they will.
Then I have a resolution to that. You sneak up on them from behind with a syringe.
Wow.
This is already aggressive.
Yeah.
You sneak
There's
up with them
syringe
like
involved
Dexter, like Dexter style, with a syringe full of like ketamine, and then they have a good time.
I'm going to be honest with you, Moses. They generally travel in packs.
Yeah.
So you
And
meet
also,
up-
what you're referring to is just assault.
Yeah, it's
we
just
don't
a
need
crime.
to call it by another name.
Nah. Whatever, liberals.
Anyway, to put a bow on my story, I ran out and got peanut butter cups, not realizing that peanut butter allergies are very much a thing.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And so
That's their problem.
Yeah, it is.
If they die on my property, that's going to bring
they
them
shouldn't
push them to the curb.
They shouldn't be
Dan.
trick-or-treating at all if they know it's a fucking candy-giving
That's
thing.
legit, too,
Like,
though. That
you know
really
you're
is.
going to get a peanut candy of some sort.
Yeah. I agree with him.
I ended up having to ask every single child. And some of them were too young to answer.
Right.
Like one little boy, I was like, "Hey, are you allowed to have peanuts?" And he's like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Well, go ask your mommy." And he goes running over to his mom, and it's like his little sister. And he's like, "Mom, can I have peanuts?" And she says, "Of course, you eat them every day."
No.
He didn't know what he's eating.
Dan, I'm going to do you a sacrilege, but bless your heart.
Yeah, you're putting
do that
way
at all.
too much into this.
Fuck these
You
kids.
might as well just give them fucking pennies and raisins so they don't come back next
I was
time.
going to give them a Jocko energy drink. That's like the greatest gift of all.
Listen to Fox News, kids.
Is that where Jocko Go-Go comes from?
No,
Jocko
no,
Go-Go.
Jocko
I don't know what the
Go-Go.
fuck it's called. It's just Monster Energy in a smaller can, isn't it?
It's less caffeine.
Unless,
Oh my god! All right, so get yourself a
300 to 95 is a little bit of a different
Yeah.
comparison there.
Now we're worried about caffeine.
I always am. Anyway, I forgot what your name is, by the way.
Vinny Price.
Vinny
Yeah.
Price.
Yeah.
What?
I'm not insulted at all by the fact that
you
you
sh-
didn't remember my name.
Well, I mean, you're very forgettable. What grinds your gears about this?
So I'll do this a little bit twofold, and it's actually a great segue into a sponsor that we have. My favorite thing about Halloween is obviously it's the pumpkins. And the sponsor has got them, which actually is what really excites me about it. Before we even get to that, I will answer your question. One of the less glamorous sides of Halloween is the parties. And what I mean by that is that it's a time of year where girls take this as an opportunity to dress up in something of a revealing way. And that can be lovely in its own right. But if you're a single man, that can be very frustrating. You find yourself at the bar at the end of the night and you're trying to get somebody home with you. You're buying the drinks, you're buying dinner, and, maybe you leave empty-handed, And even if it does...
Was that a woman or...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
And even if it does go entirely according to plan, then maybe, you wake up in the morning, you're in a bed that you're not familiar with, and you're worried about an unplanned pregnancy or something like that. But no longer, because our newest sponsor at You Pick It, You Stick It Farms, we're combining our passion for produce with your need for sexual gratification. At You Pick It, You Stick It, our melons are ripe. You can bust all the cherries that you want, and you can even eat a peach for hours.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's not all.
Oh.
Wednesday night is ladies' night. So you can stop on by our Mandingo Zucchini Bar.
Oh.
Yeah. We've got Zucks. We've got Cucks. And for the newbies out there,
Yeah.
we've even got a banana and gherkin starter package.
Oh.
Yeah.
I do like
my.
banana.
Yeah. Big news.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about sending out that eggplant emoji this autumn, why settle for that when you could have the real thing? So come on inside our pumpkin patch and sow some seed inside the best squash this side of the Delaware at You Pick It, You Stick It Farms.
Will they suffice my aubergine needs?
They'll suffice everything.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question.
I have an aubergine
Is this
dream.
owned by Sammy Hagar? Because that sounds like a Van Halen song.
No, the owner of it is Roger Gherkin. Oh, actually,
okay.
no relation.
To who?
I'm talking to Dan right now.
I'm just wondering who the relation is.
No, I heard your question, and I said I'm talking to Dan.
All right.
Thank you for bringing that sponsor to us. I mean, thank you to
It's a big one,
You.
and it's the right time of year for it.
Oh, of course.
They
You
do
pick
have
it,
they
you-
do have pumpkins. Let
What
me
is it?
tell
You
ya.
stick it, or you pick it?
You stick it.
You
I'm sorry. You pick it. You stick it. Farms. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I
sounds like they
immediately
have-
forgot what you said again.
Yeah, it was
It
very
sounds
confusing.
like they have a gorgeous place.
Yeah, it's wow. All
wow.
right. Yeah, very nice. Yeah. No, the produce there is phenomenal. Yeah,
But
it's the right amount of ripe, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, thank you guys.
I don't.
And if you have
I can explain it. Yeah.
a thirsty sponsorship that you'd like to approach us about,
Yeah.
you know where to find us on the Instagrams, the other social medias that we have.
Yeah, get involved in the conversations.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Unless you're the Chinese Communist Party trying to hit us up through
Oh
TikTok. We don't want that.
no.
I'm into that too.
Has that happened?
That is every other day.
Oh, all right. We're looking at you, China.
All right, so since you already transitioned us to favorite things about the Halloween season,
Yeah.
Justin, sir, what do you enjoy about Halloween?
All right. So I think, as I said earlier, like as a kid, like Halloween's fun, and I was a latchkey kid, so it's like just go be free, get a bunch of candy, probably do some light crime, that sort of thing. And as an adult, well, I would say in my 20s, drinking parties were fun. When you're a single young man, the girls are dressing up as whatever French maids or whatever the case may be. That's a lot of good times. Now I'm an old man, and what's fun now is like people still have parties, and that's good. There is work involved in this. We're all more or less attached. They're not free-floating. So it's generally just show up, have some dubious drinks, which I always enjoy.
Oh yeah.
I generally avoid the candy. I very much learned that I think as I mentioned earlier in several podcasts, I don't really have a sweet tooth anymore. So.
I feel so compelled to eat it.
Yeah, well,
It's
it
just
is a compulsion.
Yeah.
It's just built in because it's Halloween. This is what you have to do.
Yeah, you put a couple of Snickers bars in front of me. It's
But, like,
a thing.
I do love Snickers.
They're so good.
Yeah, I do find joy though. Like when I see like people show up with like costumes that like they actually put work into though. Like
That is admirable.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate like when even if it was like little kids and the parents did all the work, but like
Well, that's
they look
cool.
adorable and
I
they're
lo-
what
I-
they like. You could tell what the fuck they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
I love the costumes. I gotta
Yeah.
say, I love. the
And when they're
costumes.
like
I
those
really do.
obscure things that like because it's in your
Very
realm
niche.
of nerdom,
Very niche.
and you're like, oh, that's fucking the background character from
You're dressed
you know-
as Roger Moore.
Yeah, it's like
Wow. Okay, Roger Moore, yes.
Yeah. I can tell by the lapel on your...
Spoiler alert.
But like what I have come, which I don't remember from being like, obviously when we were younger, a lot of our parents or whatever would put work into like costumes. It's not back in the day you didn't have a Spirit Superstore and an abandoned store like around every corner.
You would have to go to the whatever the AC Moore of the time was and kind of build it.
AC
like
Moore,
sew it.
Joann's Fabric.
Was AC Moore? I'm older, but I don't remember AC Moore until the recent years. More or less.
Oh, I remember when I was young.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
I don't know if that was still
at least in the 90s. I remember.
Okay.
It. Yeah, but you would have to put shit together if you wanted to be something other than a pirate, a ninja, or I don't know, another. In a black cloak with a mask.
Yeah, I did that once.
And if you had a legit idea, you had to find the resources to put that shit together. Now, in every vacant storefront, a Spirit Halloween store opens up in mid-September, and it's oh shit.
And honestly, I feel like they should stay open year-round because there's plenty of fucking vacant storefronts.
They can't afford that rent.
Yeah, but I mean...
They're striking where the iron's hot.
I get that they're doing that, but there's a lot of want for that. I wouldn't say need. I'd say there's a lot of want for that.
Well, I mean,
just because everybody's into that kind of shit anyway.
I'll jump on that. As somebody who does enjoy the dressing up part of Halloween, I will say...
You do, and I know we only met you, but I hear you do it very well.
It's a thing that I'm into. And I think that there's no reason that you can't do that multiple times per year. So
that's fair. And
but that's not the culture that we live in. The culture that we live in is that you do that once per year.
Isn't it, though? Because everybody dresses up for fucking whatever they want.
That's why I like the old Lewis Black gag when he's talking about Halloween, where he's just saying, if you're an adult and you're planning on dressing up this Halloween, don't. I will find you. I will hurt you.
Well, he's an old, and I love him, but he's an old curmudgeon.
Oh, yeah. But this is also back in the day where it was actually much funnier.
No, I love dressing up. I've dressed up for the past few years, and it's glorious. I was a cop. I was a Nazi.
You're a white person?
I was a white person.
Were you a white person?
I was there for that night.
Yeah. When the cops showed up, it was terribly awkward.
It was.
Because they didn't know how to handle
I'm going to be honest with you.
Oh, you got to commit to that. See, that's what you should do every day.
Of course I was committed.
You got to do that every day.
Yeah.
Except Halloween.
No, I was very much so committed to it when the cops found me hiding behind a shed.
Yes.
And dragged me out.
Yes.
And they were like, wait, you're white. Why are you hiding?
They were very displeased.
His face was powdered.
Yeah.
His mustache was powdered.
Yeah.
So you're doing a Chappelle.
And I had a brown, I was basically
like a Chappelle white
thing.
person?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, my sister did my makeup, so it was on point.
All right.
It was on point.
I believe that,
She told me many times, this makeup costs several $100s. I was like, I don't know anything about that.
This is the high-end
Make me look
Sephora
white.
collection.
And this is a long time ago, but I feel like you had some sort of khakis and cardigan type.
Yeah, I was wearing khakis. Yeah, I had a very nice cardigan on. It was lovely. My hands were powdered as well. I did the whole thing.
Were you wearing a white people hairpiece?
Yeah, I had a very nice.
so.
I had a brown wig. Yeah.
For a second, I thought he was just dressed up as me.
No.
Until he said the hairpiece. No, I ain't got any of that.
No, it was quite nice though. Yeah,
And you always go above and beyond.
I love it.
If
you're gonna dress up, and if you're gonna do anything, then you should do it 100%.
Yeah.
And that was honestly for myself. That was the culmination of it when the cops showed up and they needed to yell at everyone, and I found myself in this verbal back and forth with some very angry police officers, and I'm dressed in this completely absurd outfit, as are they, and we had to just go back and forth, and they had to somewhat take it seriously because that's their job.
But as I've gotten older, because for me, the Halloween parties, they've become a little bit more of a chore.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It is. Yeah.
Because I go to a party and it's cool, but I think last year, I got a blue denim top and a curly wig, and I went as Bob Ross.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No, it was good. It was good, and that's fine because it's low impact for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's a lot of my problem with dressing up because I have a beard and I am not shaving it.
No.
Oh yeah, nor should you. You look terrible without that beard.
Unless I'm really committed to the costume.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to do it for a couple of more weeks.
Well, that's my own personal sob story from this year is that my lady, she was like, I want to do a couple's costume. I've never really done a proper one. yada yada. And I was like, well, I would love to do that for you. That's not a problem. And she was like, I want to do Jack Skellington and Sally.
That's a to-do.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
It's a to-do.
And I told her, I was like, there's no way that I can do this. And I do take it seriously. And she was like, of course you can do it, blah, blah, blah. Words of encouragement, very lovely about it. And I told her, I was like, he's a skeleton. And I am not the skinniest person that you've ever seen.
Right.
You can
I
get
also
away
have
with
a
it.
beard that I'm not going to get rid of.
yeah.
I don't think that I can do it.
You shave your beard all the time now.
I get it short, but I don't get rid of it. I'm not a skeleton.
I mean, it's barely a beard.
I'm not a skeleton. I told her I wanted to be a fucking knight, and she was like, well, then what would I be? I was like, you can be a knight too. And she's like, I don't want to do that.
You'll be a damsel,
Yeah,
bitch.
to be a damsel in distress. Like,
I literally said to her, I was like, you can be a damsel. Just dress up like a fucking slut. I'm all about that. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm like, all right, next year then. Let's compromise. But it was funny. One of the things that I really enjoyed about it is that she said to me, she was like, you know what? I've dated so many other people, and they never cared about Halloween. And one of the things that I was very excited for with you is that you do care about Halloween. She goes, but now that we actually have to plan the costumes.
Right, yeah.
She goes, what I realized is that all of these guys that I dated who didn't care about Halloween, I could just tell them to dress like something.
Right.
And they would just do it. But I tell you to dress like something, and you've got a lot of opinions about it. And I was like, yeah, I fucking do. And she's like, you care too much about Halloween.
The grass is never
greener.
greener.
I'm not backing down from this.
the grass is never
I want to be
greener.
a knight, damn it.
So let me interject here real quick, because this will come out right around Halloween, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yes.
So it won't. Christina has decided she's going to be Scarlet Witch this year.
I'm excited
Nice,
for that.
yeah.
Yeah. When she told me that, I'm like, I am not being Vision, because I'm not doing that much work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah, it really
I told
is.
you. Go as Quicksilver.
Yeah.
it's a little weird,
You hear
but...
how quickly he dismisses you?
Well, there was a weird storyline.
You underestimate how little work I am prepared to do for this. And I love Christina dearly, and she was dead set on doing this, and she's feeling real good about herself. She's looking great, everything. But I'm just like, I am not slapping a bunch of latex prosthetics on my head, or shaving, or doing any of that.
It's going to be minimal effort for me.
So it's she's like, okay, well, you have to figure it out. I'm like, I will figure it out, and I will absolutely put it down to the day before.
You want to be a knight? Can I live through you?
I got tinfoil at home. I can make myself a knight. But I love it. Gives people a lot of joy. I'm just at my nature incredibly antisocial, and I don't generally want to deal with it. But get a couple drinks with me, I'll have the best time in the world.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, once you get some drinks, it doesn't fucking matter what the fuck
I loved my favorite costume. The cop one I loved.
Yes.
But being a Nazi was my favorite thing because it's so alarming to people.
You caused a shitstorm with that.
Yeah, that girl fucking yelled at me.
That was at Steve's, right? Steve's was talking about this the other weekend.
So
It
there's
also
I forgot
happened
about
at
that,
Steve's,
actually,
but
yeah.
it also happened
No,
at Mr.
so
Mechanics.
the story that I was talking about was, over at Mechanics, I showed up in a full fucking Waffen SS uniform, and this girl started fucking giving me shit about it. And I thought that I said multiple times that I'm Jewish. You don't got no right to, because I literally, and I might have showed you guys this photo, but as soon as I got the uniform in the mail, and it was difficult to get because obviously the governments of the world have
You
kind of
were
a thing
so
about,
excited.
Yeah.
You were so
and
excited.
as soon as I got it, I put the fucking Nazi uniform on and I was wearing it. I was like, damn, this looks fucking great. And I'm
It
hanging.
fits you so well.
Oh my God, yeah. Listen, those uniforms are made to make you look good. Come on. And which is also where this is going. But I fucking posed with the cat. I went over to my fucking cat and it's him, and we're button noses. It's cute as shit, And I'm wearing a Nazi uniform with a death's head skull and my fucking cap and all that shit. And the first person that I texted it to was my incredibly Jewish mother.
Yes.
And her text back was, "You look so handsome. Please come over wearing that." And I did. And the whole time driving there, I was like, I'm going to get fucking pulled over.
For sure.
Random shit.
But you didn't get pulled over, did you?
No, I didn't. Yeah.
No,
but
because we were wearing that.
Right. Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Yeah, my brother who works for the probation office at the time, I told him, I was like, listen, man, I was like, if I end up in jail, you got to like come and help me out. And he goes, listen, you've never been so safe as you are in this uniform.
Wiser words have never been spoken.
And then what you were talking about is that I showed up to Steve and Kim's place and I got out of the truck and walked into their driveway and Steve was just like, nope. Now, in fairness, I did take off the swastika armband for that because that's too on the nose.
That's not how he tells the story.
No, I did not have that on. And I got out and it was, and we hung out. And as soon as I showed up, like it was just them there, it was chill. But then like within seconds, their dear friends showed up. And these are people they only know like loosely through
These
work.
are
So
Kim's
it's like,
friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Like from work and...
It's a mother, father, and their kids.
And they're like well-to-do.
They knew, they're well-to-do people. And they're just like, okay, so a guy is dressed as a Nazi, and we're just gonna roll with this. And Steve walked out because he wasn't talking to me for that very long 60 seconds. He didn't want to talk to me. But as soon as I interact with them, and I'm just like, hey, how's it going? And they're just like, hello. and Steve barges up into the conversation, rightfully so, and he's just like, Pete's Jewish. He's Jewish. This is okay. He's a Jewish guy. His mother's very Jewish. He's allowed to wear this thing, and so on and so forth. Also, a very comical thing that happened at that, very briefly before we get back on topic, is that one of the like hangers-on at those parties that happened there, so this is a next-door neighbor, he wanders over, he's basically in this like 60 seconds, and he wanders over, and everybody's...
Steve's?
Yeah, at Steve's, yeah. And so like everybody's like kind of laughing and uncomfortable at the costume that I'm wearing and so on and so forth, and he sees this joke unfolding, and he pulls me aside, and he goes, great costume, and I go, thank you. And he goes, what are you? I'm not joking.
So how is it a great costume?
And I just kind of roll with it, and I'm just like, good one, nice seeing you. And he's like, no. And he like grabs my arm, and he's like, what are you supposed to be? And I was like, are you fucking serious? I'm a fucking Nazi. And he's like, I don't know what that's from. And I think I just walked away because I was so frustrated.
You have to.
Of all the most identifiable things in the world is like Adolf Hitler walks into your front fucking
Have
yard.
you never seen any media ever?
Ever, yeah. So that was
And
that.
it's funny, and I will do a very short tag on to your story there. So a couple years ago, I was very unprepared for the neighborhood Halloween party, which is an adult party, and I had to go through a neighbor's like closet essentially. So I essentially picked out she had like one of those gaucho cloaks. Like a rustler or something would wear. And I put that on and a cowboy hat and like my cowboy boots. And it was like literally the least amount of effort I could do, but like enough to get me into the party. I got so much shit from like the woke people at the parties. Like, what was this cultural appropriation? What are you dressed as? I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Just be the dorkiest white dude ever? I'm white. What do you want from me?
I don't get how they thought that you were appropriating anything.
What were you wearing? Oh, sorry, I was eating edibles.
He's wearing a cloak and a cowboy hat.
Oh,
Yeah.
so what's the thing?
It
How's
was
that
a
cultural
straight up
appropriation?
gaucho cloak.
It's woke people. They'll just find anything to bitch about.
She's like, well, what are you supposed to be? And it's like, this is
I'm
one of those
honoring
people.
a people.
Well, I don't think I said it that way.
Well, that's the answer to that question. I'm honoring a people. Appropriation is stupid.
Fuck you is the answer to that question.
Yeah, essentially. And it's just like, look around you, lady.
Yeah.
I don't think that guy's actually a mummy.
Yeah. I definitely know that guy's not
I'm
Booker T.
Appropriating Egyptian
I can
culture.
assure you he's not Egyptian.
What of the Aramaics?
Yeah. And it was like, it was the most benign thing that I just like threw together out of a bunch of scraps in this lady's closet. And it's like, come on, really? You're gonna come and get in my face about this fucking shit?
That's what took me back so much with with the Nazi thing, which I would get it if I wasn't, fucking Jewish. That I could see how that might be offensive. But it's like,
Well, you got the right hook for it.
Well,
It's
it's
the hook for
perceived
it.
offensive.
It's perceived.
It's not really
But that's
offensive.
kind of what
unless
it is, though.
if
It's
that's
like,
what you
yeah.
are.
Oh, and the person who gave you shit over it,
I know, right?
you were told that she was Jewish, but she's not.
She's not Jewish, yeah.
Oh, so she was culturally
she was
appropriating.
the one who was actually appropriating my culture.
False valor.
Shockingly.
False valor.
It was so absurd.
The fuck?
Because, that you're 100% right. I was going to bring that up. but yeah, she like I found out after the fact because like she was giving me shit, and then Justin, the host of the party, mechanic, I like pulled him aside and I was like, listen, man, I was like, I didn't mean to like offend your guest or anything like that. I didn't know that she was Jewish, you know, but like I'm fucking Jewish.
You have to imagine somebody there's going to be Jewish.
No, that's
Like,
not
but it's
true.
like, who
That's
gives
not
a
true.
shit?
You know how many
Around
fucking
here,
Jews there
come
are?
on.
They were mostly wiped out in the war, Moses. You should fucking know this. Your beard is fucking long enough.
Whatever.
You
That's
fucking
why
poser.
I pick and choose. That's why I pick and choose my costumes. I'm going to be a bearded lady this year.
Unbelievable.
Finally.
You won't be Jewish for that then.
Finally.
We're not into that transgender thing.
Oh no, I'll have curls.
But I was like, I said to him, I was like, I didn't know that she was Jewish, blah, blah, blah. And like, I honestly really did feel a little bit bad. Because like, if you have some sort of a feeling about that, then whatever. And then he's like, oh no, she's not Jewish. I was like, are you fucking, I am the only one who was a victim of the Nazis, even in theory. And I'm
it's
dressed
only
as the
in
Nazi
theory.
here.
It's only in theory.
And you're fucking giving me shit about it? Oh my God. And I immediately, once again, my mother called me up to compliment the uniform, say how handsome her Waffen SS son is. And she was the first person that I called after that. She could be like, and I try to, be polite when I speak to my mother, but I was like, can you believe this fucking bitch right here? Fucking talking to me like this?
And then you start
Fucking
gossiping like
Gentile
Yentas.
motherfucker telling me as a Jew that I'm
This-
not allowed to
This
offend the
fucking
Jews?
goyim bitch was talking all this shit.
Oh my God, my mother wanted to fucking wring her by the neck. Yeah.
That's a time-tested tradition.
I'll tell you something. If my mother's oven was big enough, she would have had some words.
Well, you're going to have to separate those meats from the milk.
All right, guys, let's bring this back on topic
Please,
slightly
please.
with the things that you enjoy about the season.
Yeah.
Moses, what do you enjoy about Halloween season?
The Halloween, well, I would enjoy the chill to the air, the colors changing in the leaves, but that shit ain't happening. So
That's just autumn.
I hate it all. I hate it all now.
Well, then I'll jump in real quick and talk about what I like. I like going back and watching your standard kind of like horror movies,
Yeah.
Halloween movies,
that.
and like watching the old Halloween specials for The Simpsons. Kind of takes you
Yes.
back to
Those are
that
great.
time.
Yeah.
Those are great.
Treehouse of Terror.
Yeah, Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah,
whatever
horror,
those
yeah,
come-
yeah.
Those are funny. I stop after a little bit because somewhere around season
8,
10,
10,
11,
they
12,
kind of-
it starts sucking.
Yeah.
But, like a very nice experience I had back when I was in college. I was staying with my buddy, and we just got drunk on wine watching Simpsons Halloween episodes to the point where it's like, there's a child in the room. Maybe we should stop.
Yeah.
We were also listening to this band called Lordy, which is, if you could just picture Gwar,
Yep.
but they're all like monsters instead of like,
yeah.
what
I mean, Gwar was
doing.
kind of-
Sexual
yeah.
deviance. Yeah.
Extra dimensional, whatever.
Yeah, I can't remember what the.
And so all of their songs are either like based in horror movies or very sexual.
Yes.
So as soon as that child came over there, I was like, you have to dive to grab the speaker.
You go away. I don't know.
here.
What happened? Go away.
I love that you're diving for the speaker and not, what's playing everything to shut it off.
But on that note, you guys, I'm going to open the floor to your favorite horror movie. I'll start this off because I was thinking about this earlier today. I would either go with The Shining or Event Horizon.
Oh my God.
Is that a horror movie?
I would say
Event
it's a horror
Horizon?
movie.
Like,
It's a
I get-
sci-fi horror.
I understand the horror aspects of it, but
It's scary. I think
Yeah.
it's a scary movie.
All right, I'm gonna chime in here, and there's gonna be a little bit of a qualifier I'm gonna put out before I say my piece. I don't generally like The Shining, the original one.
Yeah.
I don't like the made-for-TV one either. Just
Oh.
make that be.
Oh,
known.
with the guy from Wings.
Yes, exactly. That's the only way it's
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
described. I read The Shining when I was very young, and I really liked it.
God bless you.
Yeah, it was. It's
that's
over
a-
500 pages.
Yeah, it's a long book.
Yeah, I probably should have seen the movie first, but I didn't. So, like, I had a lot of very high, and I do classify it as a very good movie. It just let me down because, like, the material itself is a lot more horrific.
Yeah.
But the movie is good. It's very suspenseful, everything like
The
that.
book is always going to be better. And I say that as somebody who doesn't really read.
9 times out of 10, the book is better.
It's just how it is.
There are instances where the movie is way better than the book, but it's very far and few.
Yeah,
between, and I can't
my,
really think
my
of one.
idea of that movie was very colored because, like, when I was a kid, I read like a motherfucker. My parents and like my friends' parents we were very big on like literacy with us for whatever reason. I read tons and tons and tons of shit, probably years before I should have actually read them, and like, it was probably good for me, or it probably fucked me up. I have no idea, but like, yeah, I read The Shining when I was in like I think 3rd or 4th grade.
That's a formidable book.
Yeah.
For a 3rd grader.
Yeah, I was ambitious back then. Not
can't
so
even
much
read
these
it
days.
now.
I know
pushing
for a
40.
fact I'm not like, and I read, but I'm not reading that fucking thing.
Absolutely not.
And when I saw the movie, and I was still young when I saw the movie, I was probably a young teenager. It just kind of let me down because I had high expectations.
Yeah.
Which-
I've come to appreciate it as an adult for like the art that it is.
The
but
Stanley Kubrick
the
one? or
Kubrick one. No, yeah,
Kubrick,
no.
yeah.
And it's like the made-for-TV with wings guy is more.
Well, that was the one that's backed by Stephen King, oddly
I
enough.
know.
Stephen King is he's terrible at movies.
He's not a great writer either.
No, yeah, his books are all the same.
They're all
he
fucking
doesn't-
aliens.
All his best work he
Some
doesn't
aliens.
remember, first of all, because of all the cocaine.
Yeah.
I wish I did that much cocaine.
Yeah, you imagine that? All right.
I
feel like
have-
I've done a lot of cocaine.
I've
but
done,
like,
and I know I've done more than you,
King,
and I haven't done that much.
I know I took this on a little bit of tangent. What was the other one you mentioned, Dan? I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Event Horizon.
Yeah.
The Sam Neill.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Can you see?
That's right. I do enjoy that movie. I don't know if I would put it in horror. I get
It
why
is
you
a
would.
horror
But
movie.
I don't know. It just seems like a sci-fi romp.
Well,
I'm
it's
gonna
a
give it to you.
romp.
It is a romp.
Yeah, how is
but
that?
it is
Yeah, romp.
definitely horror.
But I get
It's scary, and that's what really defines a horror movie. What defines a
I
horror
just hear
movie?
Jerry Lewis every time I listen to it.
Jesus Christ.
What defines a horror movie is that its intention is to scare you, and
All right,
Event
so-
Horizon definitely has that intention.
Can I pose a question?
all right.
I also personally find it. I think it's a scary movie. Yeah,
Do you prefer horror camp or horror suspense?
they're different things.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but what do you
What is your
prefer?
preference?
So I mean, I don't know. I don't have a straight answer to that.
Yeah.
I think that. So I love horror. I
Yeah.
absolutely love the genre in both of those formats. So I love the camp, and I love a genuinely scary movie. Me personally, I don't think that many movies are scary. I think that horror,
agree.
when basically if you don't pull off the horror part, then you've accidentally made camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really how
That might not be
works
your
out.
intention going into it, but
Right, yeah.
you just
It's-
stumble into
yeah.
okayness
Exactly.
of
It's
a horror movie.
My personal opinion about it, again, as like I consider myself like a pretty serious horror movie buff, and I think that it's difficult to pull off scaring people.
It is.
Because there's so many parts of it that you already anticipate, the jump scare and things like that. You know that it's going to happen, so you've braced yourself already, and that means that the scare when it does happen, it's kind of wasted. It didn't have its full effect.
I think.
But isn't that the challenge of
That's what I mean.
doing
yeah.
a horror movie at all, just
yeah.
that base,
The-
is trying to elicit that suspense and fear.
Yeah.
Even though the viewer is going in knowing it's a fucking horror movie and you're supposed to be fearful in some way or not.
The way that you do it well, my personal opinion, having seen, like, I basically watch every horror movie.
You
that
have
comes
watched
out.
more
Even if
movies
they're
than
bad.
anybody.
Yeah.
in
Even if I
this-
know that they're bad, I'll watch
Yeah.
every single one of them. I've seen a shit ton of fucking horror movies. And I think that the way that you do it effectively, and it's an old school tactic, but the notion hasn't really changed. The reaction that we have as human beings hasn't changed. And that's the build-up. You need to be very good at doing the build-up, getting the viewer into a space in their own mind where they thought it was about to happen, but it didn't.
Yeah.
They thought it was about to happen, and it didn't. And little by little, you get them there. And then it's not a jump scare, but it's this lingering horror that exists in their own
It's
mind.
a game about playing to tension.
Yeah, exactly.
And it also helps if it's something that could really happen.
Well, that I mean,
I feel like that's scarier than having just some like psycho killer coming back from the grave, you know. and
I
it's
think
just
that
like,
that's true, but in reality, my again personal opinion, I think that when you're talking about horror, the real thing that you're appealing to is what people are afraid of. And that's what makes it such an interesting genre. It's that when you're genuinely afraid, when something makes you like kind of like keep one eye open when you go to sleep after you watch a movie, like that kind of a fear, which I think is very rare. So most
It
of
is.
us haven't
Yeah.
like, felt that very often. If there's a movie that lingers in your mind, what it's appealing to is a deeper type of fear, and it can be a xenophobia. In other words, I don't think that it's really bound. I don't think think that one genre is better or worse than the other. I don't think that a ghost movie I don't believe in ghosts, right?
Right.
But I've seen ghost movies that have scared me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe in most of the things that I see in horror movies, you know, so that's not what it is.
They got to take the time to play to your deepest unset
Yeah,
fears.
like you
appealing
don't
to something
believe in
different.
ghosts, but if this movie about ghosts can elicit something in your subconscious that's like,
What it's doing is like, I'll
that
give
would
you,
be
like-
scary if that happened,
Like
and I have
this
no
example,
explanation.
though, it's like, for example, like a movie that does that really slow build up. It's like I've gone to bed after watching something that was really deep and ethereal, and like I personally found it scary. And it's like, whatever the fuck the movie was about, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Because I don't believe in that one thing. But I'm laying in bed at night and I hear the door creak. And I hear, and it obviously happens every night. It's the
what it
house
does,
sound,
it
you know?
tastes-
Yeah. But when I hear that door creak and I think to myself, like, what if?
What if?
Yeah,
What
and then
if?
it just turns out to be a cat who wants to be fed.
and exactly, and it's nothing. But that's what it is. It's in other words, it's a really deep kind of feeling. Like fear in and of itself is
It's an insecurity.
It's this exactly. It's a type of insecurity. It's a really built-in thing, and to be able to kind of touch upon that, I think that that's something that is not often done.
No.
but
No,
like.
and it's harder now because you have so much exposure to fucking everything.
Yeah.
That
It
it's hard
desensitizes
to
you.
have a fear of things because you already know it's going to happen anyway,
Yeah.
or it might happen at least.
But like, I'll bring this back to your initial question, right? It's Shining versus
Event
Horizon, right?
Well, that's just for my favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but that's fine because in The Shining, and I do like that movie a lot. I like Kubrick a lot, and I do think that is a great movie. But like in that film, there's like overall, I think that my personal opinion, great film, but. When the child walks into room, whatever it is,
Danny,
like 357,
yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
when he walks in there and it's like there's this super long build up and you're waiting for it and you're waiting for it and it takes fucking forever. And then finally, it's not a jump scare.
No.
It's that there's just a creepy, decrepit monster ghost lady.
Yeah, the lady.
And she's chilling there.
What Kubrick
And
does well is he
it's-
plays well, even in non-horror aspects, he plays very well with tension.
It's
Exactly.
not about
And that's what
being
it is, it's
scared. It's
tension.
about being uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
and
a
little by little,
nuance kind of.
I become more uncomfortable watching that scene. And then when she finally is there, and there is no jump, it's that he sees her, he's terrified, and now like all the chemicals in my body are telling me like something's about to happen. You know, like I want to be afraid right now and kind of get it out of my system. You know, I want the jump scare almost.
Right.
And instead, what happens is that she slowly gets up and begins to laugh, and it's like this deeply, and to use your wordage for that, it's so deeply uncomfortable, and it's like, and for me that is very scary. And I think that, and again, your comparison, your choice, but Event Horizon does the exact same thing. It's about that slow build up. A jump scare is whatever. I can hide behind the door
Jump
and
scares,
jump out,
yeah.
and
they're
that'll scare you.
always
Yeah,
so
but
Yeah.
telegraphed.
But
Exactly.
also the reaction is finite.
Yeah,
where
but that's-
they're cheap,
like it's
too.
just
Yeah.
real.
They're cheap.
It's
That's
just
what I-
there, and it's for 5 seconds, and that's it.
that's what I mean. It's that. In other words, that these movies are in some ways, they're like parables. You have to mimic what actually makes us afraid in real life. And in real life, if I jump out from behind the door, I'll scare you for a minute. And then we'll both laugh at the fact that you
Yeah.
got
Right.
scared. And that is what it is. But if I do a slow build up where like every day I'm behind your door, you know, but then like, you know, but then I leave, you know, and you don't see me there when you open the, you know, when you close the door, you know, and like, and little by little,
Yeah, but
you know,
that
it
doesn't
builds
work
up.
in real life
Yeah.
because if you're hiding behind my door every day, not doing anything, you're just there. I don't know that until you do jump out.
Yeah.
Then I know it.
I just
and
creaked
that's
the door
only
each
goddamn
night.
time. Yeah, but
I've been creaking your door.
God damn it.
I don't have doors, let alone shoelaces. That's
I
court
know you
ordered.
live under a fucking bridge. But my point about it is that the fear that exists in real life is that slow build up. It's the, you know, which is like, that's like a philosophical way to approach this, but it's that slow burn kind of thing.
Yeah.
The things that make us afraid are not the jump scare.
Well, that's what I appreciate too, because another angle I was going to take with this was how survival horror games work. Like, you know, if you guys remember Silent Hill, that was definitely
I would say
a slow-
Resident Evil because there was that one scene where the dog jumps through the window.
Yeah.
Like, I played it 100 fucking times.
that's
I knew
more-
it was going to happen. Scared me every goddamn
But
time.
that's more of a jump scare.
It is a jump scare, but like the first time I played it,
it's
didn't
a
know
bit-
that was happening.
Yeah, no,
But-
I would say yes, you're right that's a jump scare the first time that you say it.
Yeah.
But what he's talking about is that it had the same reaction every time, and that's because he's anticipating what's
Yeah,
about to
like
happen.
I knew it was going to
The
happen
anticipation
because
is
I
what
played
scares
this
you.
game. Like it's right at the goddamn beginning of the game.
Well,
And-
I understand that too. And what I was going to go there with Silent Hill is you got the radio.
Yeah.
Now, the radio
Yes.
is actually the scariest thing in that entire fucking
Yeah.
game because you go into a new room, it's completely dark, and all you hear is it go off, and you're like, fuck, what's in this room?
Yeah.
See, that got ruined to me, but we just watched Silent Hill the other day.
Don't watch the
And-
movie.
No, don't. Oh.
But it's just like, why was this game ever made?
But also, another thing that played into it with me is the controls. Since
Yeah.
they're tank controls, and
Yeah.
I suck at those, I always felt so
it was
fucking
inverted?
helpless.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Going back to your point of the what the content of that horror is, that touches upon exactly what I was trying to get at, which is that what you're afraid of isn't the content.
No.
It's not whether it's a ghost or a dog in this case.
It's an
or
illusion of
whatever.
control.
Yeah.
It's exactly. It's that there's
The
a control
illu-
that's taken away from you.
Yeah.
And then the anticipation of it. It's the chemicals in your own brain that make you afraid.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything about it. You just have to wait for that thing to happen. And that's what scares people.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I love about horror movies in general. You know, it's a delightful feeling.
Yeah.
I can tell you a jump scare that used to get me when I was a kid. You guys remember that old NES Friday the 13th game?
Oh, do I?
Kinda, yeah.
Frickin' Jason.
The unwinnable
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
He would just
There's a
pop,
lot of them, though.
Yeah. Especially on the old school Nintendo.
yeah.
He would just pop out of nowhere and just start stabbing you. And you're like, I have rocks. and you only have two
I tripped and
characters.
fell.
And you only have two characters that are fast enough to either get away or just like fight back.
That game on NES especially is legendary because of the way it was coded. It was damn near impossible to win.
Yeah, and like they never helped you. Like you
No.
have to like go back to the cave twice, and then
Yep.
you have to kill Jason, and then even when you kill Jason, you have to do it again.
Right.
It's a really weird game.
Yeah. If I could say something, like horror as a genre, I really feel took a weird dip once the found footage horror genre took hold.
It was
and
cheap to do.
Yeah. And because, obviously you had, Blair Witch towards the front there.
Very much so.
And then, a bunch of those paranormal movies,
Yeah.
those, and, they never did anything for me ever. So, I kind of walked away from horror for a long time because of those.
I will say this, and I kind of touched upon it before. Horror is a very difficult genre to do.
Yeah.
If you choose to do that as a director, producer, whatever, then God bless you. It's a difficult genre. It's easy to make people laugh. It's difficult to scare people. It really is. Without the jump scare, which is cheap. You know,
Yeah.
if you're doing that, then you're making a shitty movie.
Right.
That found footage thing was done right in a few cases.
Yeah.
When Blair Witch came out, I didn't love that movie.
Neither did I. But I got it.
Did
I
a
think.
thing. It did a thing. Yeah. Not only did it open up the genre to that found footage thing, but it invited this type of, for example, the end of Blair Witch.
Yeah.
When you just see, I guess what's supposed to be the Blair Witch or one of the characters, whatever it is, and they're just facing a corner.
Yeah, he's facing the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this lingering horror that
There's an
exists inside of you.
unsettlingness.
Exactly, yeah. And that's the nature of these things. It's unspoken.
Because everything about that scene was comfortable because there's just some lady standing in a corner, whatever.
Yeah.
But when it's built upon the story that they've been building of sorts,
Yeah.
because I hate that movie. It's just boring to me. Blair Witch. And
It's a pretty boring movie. Yeah.
But I get that was one of the first jump scares, and fine, yeah, and they did do it. I can't take that away from them. But
And
it was
and
just that
and
unsettling.
It immerses you in it, which
Yeah,
is
it makes it real, more real than whatever.
If you're making Transformers, I don't need to be immersed. I
no,
just
no.
want to watch robots.
No, it's eye candy.
Honestly,
It's whatever.
I've seen so many Transformers. I do want to be immersed now to see a different view of how this movie could be made.
Hey, you want to
Because-
be inside Bebop or something?
I think it was Bumblebee, but Bebop. I don't want to be in Bebop. I think it was
On
the
my
Warthog.
on my flight a couple weeks ago back home, I watched I think the most recent Transformers, and my God,
I can't imagine it would be good.
with horror,
that
it's
the
much
Beast one?
more difficult to achieve. I like the personally, when I think of like good quality horror, I think of older films typically.
Yeah.
That's where I would go, because the one movie that I remember scaring the shit out of me as a kid was Jaws.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because I lived on the shore. I lived on a lagoon.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's not going to really be sharks in a lagoon. But I was a young
But-
kid.
Not a
stupid,
shark that
but,
big.
But that
You would
story
need a
is
bigger
like
house.
But his
roughly
story is
built off of
built off
something
of
that-
truth.
Yeah.
But it was still like that scared the shit out of me because we were always like
And that
in
movie
the
is-
summer
it's
going
known
out
for
on the
its
boat
suspense.
and yeah, it was built. It was built in the same way like Alien.
Yeah.
Alien's a fucking scary movie. Like that doesn't affect me as much as a kid because not going to space. I am going in the water.
Yeah.
That's where the fucking difference is.
So-
that happened when that movie came out. There was a whole freaking frenzy about like, oh, don't go in the
was-
water because
Yeah.
you'll get eaten
Yeah.
by a
Well,
shark.
that was their tagline. Was
Yeah.
like, "Don't go in the water
Yeah.
this summer in fucking '79 or whatever." The
So
fuck it came.
this is an interesting point, and that's very good. So, like, I remember the first movie that scared the shit out of me, and I was very young, but I watched the 80s version of The Blob when I was like
That's
3,
another
4
one.
years old.
Yeah, that one scared the shit out
Yeah.
of me for no good reason. But
No,
like,
no
it
good
did.
reason, but like,
Yeah.
I was like 3 to 4-ish, somewhere around there, and I watched it with like my 17-year-old cousins because that's the way I
That's
grew
what
up.
you do, yeah.
And I had nightmares for months.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a scene where it pulls a guy down through like the drain of a kitchen sink and
Yeah,
shit
and
like
it's just
that.
the bones and shit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
oh, is that the scene where they have the garbage disposal?
Yes,
But it, like,
yes, yeah. So like
That
the
is
legs and arms are like sticking
that
up
is
out
a,
of the drain,
that is a pretty
flailing around.
gruesome scene.
Yeah.
It's all about that build up, the lighting, all those things that go into it. And again, what we're talking about is things that none of us believe could happen.
No,
Pete.
right.
We're not afraid
Well, the
of
Jaws
Blob.
thing I thought could happen, because
Yeah.
sharks are real, and I go in the
Great whites
water.
can't get
I
into
know
lagoons.
But I mean, the blob thing, yeah, that doesn't make. But that did scare the shit
It
out of me
scared
as
the
well
shit out of me as a kid. Yeah.
Well, to use the example of Event Horizon, though, I think that that's a very scary movie. And part of the build up to that, one of the scenes that I remember very particularly in that is that it's one of the characters, female character, and she basically, like, they give you a little bit of backstory over the first part of the film, and she's lost a child.
Yes.
Right? So, like, that's like why she's on this ship and this and that, right? She's lost a kid. And then she's, like, wandering around by herself, classic, horror movie faux pas, don't do this, but she's wandering around by herself, and then she finds, like, a tent. Like in the middle of like the surgery room or some room that you would find creepy if you're not a surgeon. It's inherently scary. And she sees this tent in there and there's somebody in it and you don't see who's in it. You know that it's going to be something terrifying. You know that it's meant to be the kid. You know all of these things, but you also know that she's going to go and investigate it. And all that build up that goes with it. So I would say that even when you're talking about a movie like Jaws, that's a suspense. It's
Well, that
the
was a
shark
lot
is
of suspense.
under the water.
And that was
you don't know
when it's coming. You don't know what it can. Well, you know what it could do, but you also don't know what it can do. Like, because it's in its element, and that is not your
It's
element.
scary because it's unknown, and that's the part of it that it's feeding off of exactly what all humans are afraid of. It's that unknown factor, and it's the desire for control, and so on and so forth.
Gentlemen, I want to jump in here real quick because we're running out of time in this segment. Real quick lightning round. What is your favorite horror movie?
I can't. It's the one with the Drag Me to Hell.
Okay.
Okay.
It's so good.
I love that fucking movie.
I just watched that.
For
yesterday.
I actually kind of split genres with this one, but it's so much fun. Arachnophobia.
It's so
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's so good.
yeah, great cast.
And that's
too.
like a comedy.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, That's what I'm saying. It's a split genre.
No,
one,
I
but
hate
yeah.
that movie just
Yeah.
because of the spiders, and I
Yeah.
have that irrational fear.
Yeah.
But
I love it. I love it.
I think
Really
it's,
love it.
I think it's 1978 Fulci's Zombie.
Okay.
The original,
Yep, the
one of
original, yeah.
original zombie.
that was a good.
films,
That was a good
It's super
zombie. yeah.
slow. It's not for everybody. It does have its camp, but yeah, that one does it for me.
It only has camp now. It wasn't campy from the start.
At the time, it wasn't camp.
It only has it now because we are in flux with so much
But
zombie.
like, I don't consider it like it's a horror, but like one of my favorite films. I don't consider it scary, but it actually would be in this category. I would put it above zombie. I think it's 1974. It's the original Dawn of the Dead.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
yeah,
original
yeah.
Dawn of the
The black
Dead.
and white?
No,
Oh,
no,
no,
You're
that's,
thinking,
no,
you're
no,
thinking
no.
of Night of the
Yeah,
Night of the
Dead.
Living Dead, yeah.
Because I could see that too.
The original Dawn of the Dead is black guy, white guy, woman, helicopter pilot, and they're all holed up in a mall.
Yep.
Oh,
in
okay.
Pennsylvania. Yeah. And my thing with that one is that the movie, and this I think is true for like all quality horror movies, definitely in the zombie genre, it's that what you're supposed to be afraid of is people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that, and again, appealing to that deep fear.
I think that's
You're
what
not afraid of
zombie
zombies.
movies all were referring
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
like, or
Yeah. You're supposed to be
alluding
afraid
to.
of people.
Yeah.
And then The Walking Dead takes that and drives it right into the ground.
into the goddamn ground.
Like my favorite zombie movie, and this is very akin to like what I like, Fido.
Oh,
Fido, I love.
Great.
That is a great fucking
Fido's
movie.
a great movie. It's not a horror movie.
No,
but it's a
no.
great
I mean,
movie.
it's
No.
horror-ish.
Yeah.
It isn't. Yeah.
It's great.
in the
It is a great
least-
movie.
In the least common denominator.
Yeah.
But
It's
like,
a great
or most
fucking
common
film,
denominator.
though.
But like whatever. Yeah, it's
That is a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a great film.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest zombie movies ever
It
made.
is.
And
It's
not
so
even
much
horror.
fun. It's so much fun.
To get off of zombies, I love Critters. I used to watch Critters
I
all
think
the
we brought this
goddamn
up
time.
before.
Yeah.
He loves
I
us.
love
He talks about it
Critters,
all the
like,
time.
because I know we got Ghoulies, we got Gremlins. There's probably a bunch of other, like, even fucking Puppet Master. I do love Puppet Master.
Puppet Master
But
is great. Can
I
we
do
talk
love
about
Puppet
that?
Master.
Not
we can't
right
talk
now.
about it, but not like, let me get this out. Like, I just grew up on Critters, and it's campy because the monsters are fucking adorable.
They are.
And it's not in that same gremlin kind of way
No.
where they're adorable and then they become horrific. They're always horrific, but they're always
Always
adorable. And
Not wrong.
They're just, I love it. It speaks to my heart. I'd adopt a critter in no time.
I'm just realizing now that they remind him of himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's both adorable and atrocious to look at.
Don't let me get into a ball because I'm going to just peel your skin right off you.
Yeah, I should be so lucky.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost done here with this podcast, but we figured we'd give you a little history lesson. We're bringing back an old chestnut. Moses, do you mind telling us the history of Halloween?
All right, I'll try to make this brief. There's a lot that goes into this, though.
Wow.
So, in the beginning, when the universe was created,
Okay.
there was
This is
nothing.
gonna be very brief. I can tell.
There was nothing, and then all of a sudden there was light. And you know who didn't like that? The darkness. So the darkness had to fight back.
Okay.
And then the lightness gained more
Charlie
power.
Murphy or
It's no, not that darkness. He's a echelon of that.
The lightness?
There's
the
the lightness.
lightness.
There's the lightness. Though, yeah, well, let's not get into that.
Keep it moving, baby.
So
Drink more wine.
the lightness gained a lot of power. Everybody loved the light. Everybody was like, "Yeah, fuck this! Like, I love the sun. Like, that's fucking awesome." But in the dark was like, "Well, why does nobody like me?"
Very confusing.
So then I believe it was the Celts were like, "Oh, well, let's do something about that." And when wouldn't we do it except around our farms? Because that's what dictates time.
Okay.
Is when you're going to
The
harvest
Celts
your
and their farms?
yeah, the Celts and the
Okay.
farms. That's why they got like they're not good with potatoes, but they're all right with other things.
Totally different time.
Okay.
Well, stay tuned for Moses Does Irish History.
Oh, Jesus.
But
Technically, you're kind of
Oh, Jesus.
doing that.
I mean, it's kind of that. But and then they're like, well, and then time moves on, and
As it does. As it does.
and throughout history, kids are like, oh, I'm afraid of the dark because that's when the demons come to get you because they want their fucking they want their time in the proverbial light.
In the light.
Yeah.
The
They're like,
lightness.
we want to be recognized too, so they would either.
Am I supposed to take that statement as the bridging of Christianity into the Isles?
It's all Christianity. So the demons they're like, oh, all right, we want to do shit, like so they do little tricks and treats, and we
There's no smoothness to
That's
that.
a massive jump right there.
So they just literally created Halloween just out of nothing.
well, I mean, we created everything out of nothing. That's where everything came from, was out of nothing.
Oh.
Did you not pay attention to
Out
the
of the
beginning of
darkness,
this? Jesus Christ.
That's what you're talking about.
Well, and he was like, all right, Lucifer, you could have your time to shine because we haven't created hell yet, but we're getting there.
Okay.
So all right, this is Judaism showing.
It's all of it.
It always bleeds through.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, give me one day. And then he's like, you know what? Actually, I think this was a higher up decision from God, not Jesus. But God was just like, he signed off on it.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, we'll do it right around All Saints Day. How about that? That's when we celebrate all the saints going to heaven.
Yeah.
So let's
that
do
true?
that before that. Yeah, All Saints Day is November 1st.
It's crazy.
All right, anyway.
Let him roll. Let him roll. Let him roll.
Now now I got to talk about All Saints Day.
No, you don't.
No, let's keep this moving.
Anywho, so like the goblins and ghouls would come out. They'd fuck up your house. They'd throw eggs at it because they hate eggs because they boil so fast. Nobody could have a fucking like a good yolk, which really intensifies any meal.
That's true.
Okay.
All they have is hard-boiled eggs in this demonic world because it's all brimstone fire and nonsense.
Wouldn't their eggs be overcooked then?
Yeah, well, they're certainly not getting any yolk. There's no runny egg there. And
Certainly.
certainly, I don't know. I've been drinking a lot. I've been drinking this.
Me too, brother.
This what
Me
is it?
too.
Water of life.
Yeah, I don't know.
Aquavita. Go get it at your
Keep it
local
moving, buddy.
store. Where was I? Somebody remind me what I was saying.
All Saints Day.
All Saints Day. Oh, so they did it before. That way, it was kind of incorporated because all these demons were potential saints, but they just dropped the ball somewhere along the way. Yeah, like Beelzebub.
Oh, sure.
Azazel.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
I can't remember the rest.
That's all right.
And so we, as human, like they would come and do this to us, and like for a time we would like paint goat's blood over our doors so they would pass over.
That's where we got Passover from?
Yeah,
Is Halloween the one holiday that unites holidays?
it kind of is. So instead, like they would pass over them, but they would leave them little treats, and like you leave out your shoes or your stockings, and you get little candies and little little gutsy deals that you
Stocking
like.
stuffers.
Got
Yeah.
deals.
And if you were bad, then you get treats like, your house would get egged or your children would die. Just little fun stuff. And just tricks. And then, we just adopted it when we came over here from that great ship Mayflower. And
Oh,
The Mayflower, yeah.
yeah.
That's a ship.
that was a ship.
That was a ship.
It wasn't the Nina, the Pinta, nor the Santa Maria because those were slave ships.
Oh, they weren't, but
Okay.
they were
I'll
not.
save that for our conspiracy podcast.
Okay, thank you.
You know what? Let me get one of those Jocos.
It's not going to help. All right, so the one thing that I will jump in and correct out of all of the things that you said, it did not come to the United States on the Santa Maria or Christopher Columbus. It came during the potato famine.
Yeah.
Because that's when the Irish...
He was shockingly close then.
Yeah.
If you throw enough tangents out there, you're going to land something.
It was in the 8th century that Halloween was like started, right?
No, I'm talking about when it came to the United States.
Oh,
That's
well.
8th century.
Well, that's when Halloween really started.
Yeah, well, that's when everything started. That's when the universe started, when the United States was
No,
founded.
that was they were 8 years before that.
Lay-si.
Why does it sound like you're right behind me? I hate these headphones.
All right. So I hope all of you were very enlightened by that. And if you found that Moses Does History segment enlightening, make sure that you subscribe to this podcast. Leave us a 5-star review, especially if you want to encourage Moses to keep giving you history lessons. Check us out on YouTube and Rumble. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell. Follow us on social media. We are at Loud and Drunk on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If you enjoyed this podcast, then become a Loud and Drunk supporter at loudanddrunk.locals.com and patreon.com/loudanddrunk. Moses, you kind of had a closing thought moment there, but is there anything else you would like to add before we close up shop here?
I would say just be careful of the vampire buses because they'll pick you up and they'll drive you to hell.
Oh
And-
my! I mean, that might
there's
actually be better than taking the bus to Manhattan.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's kind of a detour they take. That like
though. You got to connect there.
by detour, it's not a detour. Like they don't have to go that way, but they do because it's part of the ride.
Justin, sir, closing thoughts.
Hey, yeah, everybody dress up, have fun. Be a little bit reckless, but be safe.
Jesus Christ, is he not behind me now?
Vinny Price.
It was delightful being here. I hope that everybody has a safe and Christian Halloween. And yeah, I guess stay off of vampire buses. I'm not really too sure what that means, but
You could tell by the wheels; those are the markings.
What do the wheels look like?
They're white with
They have
black.
white. Okay. All right. I guess stay away from white and black wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Stay away from those.
Good
That's
luck.
what makes a trunk or treat so scary.
Yeah. Stay away from them.
So, for Justin, Moses, and Vinny Price over there, I'm Dan. Enjoy your Halloween, and until next time, this was Loud and Drunk.
Yeah!
Boo.
What an asshole!
All right, I like the headphones now.